I'm Aaron Maté, sitting in for Jimmy Dore, here with Americans comedian Kurt Metzger, and we're talking about the not-so spy balloon that China supposedly sent to the U.S. There was a big freak out. Politicians on both sides calling this a spy balloon, demanding actions. Antony Blinken canceled his trip to China. There was a big crisis. It turned out, as we've just been covering, this was a weather balloon that was pushed into the U.S. accidentally by a weather system. But Republicans who pushed this idea that China was spying on the U.S. and stealing sensitive secrets are not giving up. So this is Senator Jim Risch, the ranking Republican on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
Did you get the information that you wanted, Senator? Are you more confused than you were going into the briefing today? What can you tell us?
Well, I don't think I'm more confused. I'm like everybody else up here. It's really important that the nation hear from the President of the United States on this. And just as importantly, the world should hear from the President on this. Criticism I would have is they've been slow to react on this from the beginning. Look, this was an invasion of the United States by a balloon that belonged to the Chinese government.
Wait, just can you go back? Is this
Yes,
invasion of the United States
can.
by a balloon?
Yes, I can.
Oh my God, we have to clip that.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get the information that you wanted, Senator? Are you more confused than you were going into the briefing today? What can you tell us?
Well, I don't think I'm more confused. I'm like everybody else up here. It's really important that the nation hear from the President of the United States on this. And just as importantly, the world should hear from the President on this. Criticism I would have is they've been slow to react on this from the beginning. Look, this was an invasion of the United States by a balloon that belonged.
When he said he wasn't confused, are you sure about that? Are you sure you're not confused?
I thought he'd be like, so yeah, I'm pretty fucking confused.
We got invaded by a balloon.
What the hell's going on? It's either a UFO or a balloon.
On to the Chinese government. It was sent in intentionally. It was spying intentionally. We know what it was doing. And
it was sent in intentionally by a cold weather system.
Look at Neil Cavuto. Like, yeah. Yeah, that's what it was. He lost weight, I think.
Obviously, that deserves the attention of the president in a very direct fashion. So given that, we all want to hear from the president.
Where's
Those
the president?
balloons you can't steer them. There was no steering on that thing.
It's a good question. Yeah, certainly once it didn't have the power to change course after it got pushed into the U.S. by that weather system. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is a balloon after all. We got invaded by something without a navigation system.
Isn't there like more, if you're going to get mad at China, like there's way more things you could find than that? Like,
a balloon? Yeah, I think so.
Like some with microchips or like, remember them phones were all bugged?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, sure. And they have a massive surveillance apparatus. I mean, there's definitely a balloon, I agree, is not at the top of the list, but it is at the top of the list for these Republican politicians. Here's Congressmember Mike Turner, the chair of the House Intelligence Committee, and he was asked about the Biden administration shooting down these new objects, unidentified objects over Canada.
Are you glad that they shot down these two objects? Because obviously you and other Republicans were critical for that the Biden team took as long as they did to shoot down the object that was clearly a Chinese spy balloon.
Sure. As I was saying, I would prefer them to be trigger happy than to be permissive. But we're going to have to see whether...
Say hi to Bin Laden in hell, balloon.
or not this is just the administration trying to change headlines. But what I think this shows, which is probably more important to our policy discussion here, is that we really have to declare that we're going to defend our airspace, and then we need to invest. What's become clear in the public discussion is that we don't really have adequate radar systems. We certainly don't have an integrated missile defense system. We're going to have to begin to look at the United States airspace as one that we need to defend and that we need to have appropriate sensors to do so. This shows some of the problems and gaps that we have. We need to fill those as soon as possible because we certainly now ascertain there is a threat.
Oh yeah, got to fill the balloon gap.
There it is. Fill the balloon gap. So we need even more money for the military-industrial complex because of a weather balloon that happened to get pushed into the U.S.
I mean,
by
is
a weather
Ukraine
system.
winding down for them, and they're like, "This is the new." Like the impression I always get is, at first I'm like, "Well, I guess Republicans they're like, we don't want this Ukraine, we want the war in China."
Yeah.
So it's like a competing war. But then isn't Mitch McConnell married to like the daughter of a influential Chinese shipping magnate or something?
Yeah. And Republicans want both. They want the war in Ukraine, although there's a faction of the Republicans that don't, but also they want to confront China too. So this is great for them. And that's why they're even trying to seize a weather balloon as a reason to expand the military industrial complex even more. So we need to get a new missile defense system in the U.S. to take on balloons. I guess that's the proposal here.
I say it takes a balloon to stop a balloon. You're going about this wrong.
Here is Mark Esper, who was the former defense secretary, speaking to CBS.
There was a tweet from Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska, and he said we need to reestablish deterrence with regard to the Chinese President Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party. Is the White House doing enough?
Well, I don't think they did enough.
Okay.
On the front end. I mean, clearly they did the right thing by shooting it down eventually as it entered the Atlantic Ocean. But we should have shot this spy balloon down as soon as it entered United States airspace.
You called that one, Kurt. This was the point. We should have shot it down immediately, not waited.
Well, what information did the balloon receive that we...
Based in the Aleutians and certainly over Alaska. And I think that, said something to the Chinese about either our ability to technically detect the system or the political will we have to shoot it down. And I think that's what Congress needs to discover in the coming days as they hold here.
You think we won't shoot a balloon, China? You want to play chicken? You think I won't shoot a $500,000 missile at a balloon?
Find out what did we know, when did we know it, what was recommended, and why was the decision made to not shoot the balloon down until after it traversed the United States. All these are things that I'm sure the Chinese are asking as well.
I can't wait for the hearings. Like, when did you know about the balloon?
Did he notice how much that lady anchor's head looks like a balloon? That would freak me out if I was him in the middle of my balloon. Looks like somebody painted features on a balloon.
So Republicans are seizing this to advocate more money in the military-industrial complex, but they're also seizing on this to fundraise for themselves. Check out this headline from Bloomberg. This is an invasion. Republican politicians are stoking outrage and raising cash over the alleged Chinese spy balloon.
Can we please have a monument built to this moment of pulling this Chinese spy balloon from the water and making a statement to China?
Doing live stand-up comedy in Tempe, Palm Springs, Milwaukee, Nashville, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, Cohoes, New York, and Hartford, Connecticut. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets and become a premium member. Get access to all our content.